So let's talk about some things that I don't like about this car. And I'm not going to talk about the usual things that are common sense if you're shopping for a Miata. All the reviewers that talk about, oh, it's got too much wind noise, oh, it's hard to get my luggage in and out of the trunk, taking the kids to Chuck E. Cheese is really hard, because I want to touch on the things that you might not be expecting. So one of the things I kind of get annoyed with is the shift indicator. I find it annoying. It's an extra thing that moves around in my gauge cluster. Like, I purposefully bought the manual so that you wouldn't do the shifting for me. But you're still gonna tell me how to do it. Must have been programmed by a woman, am I right? And this thing is ridiculous. It will literally tell you to shift into 6th gear at 30 miles an hour. If you're in a gear, it'll tell you to go to the next gear. If you don't have it actively floored, it says, oh, time to shift. Another thing that bothers me is the lane departure warning. This beeping babysitter, it's kind of annoying. One of the first things I do every time I get in this car is turn off the lane departure warning. It's super easy to turn off. You just push the button over here. When you turn that system off, it gives you a big angry warning right here in the gauges. Yeah, I know it may seem small, but I don't feel like an optional safety feature should have a warning light for being disabled. That's just a little thing. Fuck you. The next thing that doesn't necessarily get on my nerves, but is really just kind of a letdown, the overall interface of this infotainment system is just horrible. When the vehicle is in motion, for one, it disables it being a touch screen, and you can't input addresses while the vehicle's in motion, which is super annoying. I understand it being a safety feature or something, but I have never had a vehicle do that before. And if you don't think to put in the address before you get moving, then you have to stop to do it. God forbid you try to use the horrible voice commands in this thing, which probably should get its own complete topic.
Say command.
Find nearest gas station.
Say the desired line number. You can also say, try again.
Fuel station.
Pardon? Say your command again, or say help.
Fuel station.
At any time, voice guidance can be skipped by pressing the talk button and canceled by pressing the hang up button. Say the line number of the correct item. To start over, say, try again. Always available are, go back, cancel, main menu, help, and tutorial. Please wait until after the beep before speaking a command. Say a command.
Fuel station. And maybe I'm a little spoiled because I came to this from a Tesla Model S. That's the biggest thing I miss about the Tesla, was being able to just hit the voice button. Hey, Tesla, navigate to that cute blue house we saw the other day. Boop. Google Maps. You'll be there in 14.5 minutes, sir. Anything else I can do for you, sir? Would you like to stop at White Castle on the way, sir? You don't have enough battery to make that round trip, sir. You want to detour your dumbass to a charging station, sir? The temperature will be 27 degrees when you arrive. Would you like me to turn on the heated seats, sir? Voice command button is situated between the volume controls on the steering wheel. And I accidentally hit it all the time when going to hit the volume up or down button. And it's a several second awkward silence while you wait on a screen that's waiting on voice input. But I don't have anything to say to it. So even if you do get an address input into this thing, it gives horrible estimations of the time, typically for like my 2 or 3 hour drive to work. It'll be off by as much as 30-40 minutes. Not only is the time completely wrong, but the directions are sketchy at best. It's not the way that you want to go. So I just don't bother. So there's that. biggest complaint in general with this car, one thing that may be a legitimate concern that I have never heard anyone else mention, I get flashed a lot. Now, if this was New Orleans, we'd be having a different conversation, but it's not. We're on Minnesota back roads where getting flashed is not ideal. That's a general indication that either they think your brights are on or your lighting is some manner of offensive to oncoming traffic. Some of my Jeeps that were lifted and had aftermarket lighting, I would get flashed every once in a while by someone who thought my lights were annoying, which is reasonable. These are the stock headlights. These lights are not particularly bright. I would consider it below average visibility.
I don't understand. I don't understand, Paige. No.
You can see that the cutoff is super sharp and crisp all the way down. Right here, 10 feet in front of the car, it's at knee height. 20 feet from the car, knee height. 30 feet from the car, it's still fucking knee height. It's still knee, it's the same, it is level. It's not like my headlights are pointing up at the sky. I don't understand. Other cars, why do you flash me? Get in, loser. We're complaining about minor inconveniences. Is there anything that you dislike about this car that I haven't talked about?
There's something about this hump. I can't decide if my leg should be straight or my knees bent, because it's like if I bend my knees, my foot would be on that hump. I've told you that before, and you're like, nah, you're just being. It's a very, very.
That's a problem that I wouldn't have because my feet are in the engine bay if I sit over there. Passenger footwell is smaller than the driver's side. Oh, the stupid shift indicator.
It's strange. I just typically ignore it.
I talked about the lane keep assist. Did you use it at all, or did you turn it off? Do you remember?
I did not turn anything off. What does it do?
It does that annoying beeping.
Oh, I must have stayed in my lane then.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Did you ever bother using this GPS at all?
No, I used my phone because that GPS is stupid.
I'm trying to help you, motherfucker!
So what do you think? Any of these things annoying enough to you? Any recommended fixes for any of these things? I might be reaching a little bit because there's not much to dislike about this car. That's all I got to say about that.
You're gonna have a bad time if you clicked on this video to learn something. Don't like and subscribe. Just don't watch this shit.
What am I recording at? Is it in 4K? I hope I'm not wasting 4K space on an hour of this running off of a fucking dome light.